Okay, well, you guys said
Hello, friends.
both addresses.
Is that annoying? It is, right? Let me turn
What
it
is
off.
it?
That light,
Oh,
right? Like it's weird. Hi,
it's
friends.
on,
Happy
right?
Friday. Hi. Hold on.
Where's everyone? Oh, here we are. Here we are.
Oh, are we there? Did I
Yay!
hit live?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the comments.
And now it looks dark and creepy. So
But you're not backlit.
no. Yeah, it's a weird glare, especially because it's like right at my head. So it looks like I'm like an angel with a glow or something. Hello, happy Friday. So Anna had a huge record. I'm gonna let her talk a little bit about it. Everyone let us know who's here, how your week's been. Sales have been pretty decent, right? You had like
Yeah.
a great day. Tell us all about it.
Yeah. Sales have been great. I'm very thankful. I was going to say, let's start positive. We can end with gratitude for Thanksgiving, in the middle might be a little dodgier. But
Yes, we've both had a little bit of rough weeks. Mine more so in the reselling realm than anything else. So I'm sure
yes.
we'll get there. But
Well, mine is kind of related, which I want to ask everybody a question about my situation too, but when we get there. But anyway, so I hit a new record. I have like a little spreadsheet, surprise, that has just all of the like little benchmarks and records that I've hit over the years in my store, and I had a new one, which was the most like items sold in one day record. I basically doubled the old record on, I think it was on Monday. And basically, I sold 57 items in one day. But I do want to say that of those 57, 40 of those items were one order. And it was someone who went through my whole inventory and bought 40 different like patches, like sew on patches and appliques.
yeah.
And they just went through and made offers on like tons of them for like $10 to $20 each, depending on like what the starting price was. And so I looked it up. I totaled it up when I was putting them all on my solds page that I used to pull my items, and I spent about $12 total on those 40 patches, and I made over $500 on that sale. So
Jeez.
I'm looking for wood to knock on that they're not like, yes, I want to keep this one and return the other 39, because they could do that. I mean, that's the danger of having free returns too. But anyway,
But it's also like cheap, right? Like you probably, I mean, even 40 of them probably was.
Oh yeah. Because of the value, I sent them for the correct price in one of the padded flat rate bubble mailers. So it was $8.30, I believe, to send that. And yeah, if they sent them back, I mean, that's the thing too. I paid like cents for them. So I could just resell them slowly over time if that happens, but it would be a crushing return to get. So hopefully I won't get that return.
Duncan's saying he sold 42 items as well. So this is something that too, and everyone's strategy is different. Like I am pretty niche down. I have 2,000 items and it has all of the things at 12,000 items. So it's just what works for you in a numbers game. But having more items available and having similar type items allows for these things to happen, right? Like they don't happen often, but it's a good way. I wish Poshmark. We'll get to that. eBay.
Okay.
No, we'll get there in a minute. Don't y'all, like, if you guys have watched me on Instagram today, you know it's coming. But
the wrath.
What was I going to say? Oh, I wish that they encouraged or made it easier for bundles. They have volume shipping and you can turn it on, but it's hard for like a store like yours where you have and we've talked about this a little bit in the past, but you can't just say free shipping after $50 because one of your items could cost $50 to ship and one of them could cost $3 to ship, right?
Right. Yeah.
They should definitely make a way to bundle easier because did they send offers and then you had free shipping on these already because they were small items?
Yeah. Like individually, I could have sent them in like an envelope with a stamp if I wanted to. So that's like super cheap. But
so then you don't have to deal with shipping. But if it was something else, because I've had buyers like actually reach out to me like, hey, I want to buy multiple items.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. And then it's like this back and forth that
eBay
finally made messaging better though, right?
Well, even on eBay, that's tricky because if they want to like, at least as far as I know, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, because this hasn't happened to me very many times over the years, but like that has happened where it's like somebody wants to make offers on stuff, but then they also like they could just add it to their cart and then it would bundle and then it would be done. But they don't want to pay the full price for any of
Oh
them.
yeah, because they want an offer,
They want
right?
a deal, yeah. So
Right.
then it's the whole thing of like you're either refunding them the difference or you're having to say, okay, buy them, but don't pay for them yet because I can invoice you and like adjust it. It's just like it's just a pain. And then
And not
sometimes
only oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say sometimes people will get mad because they'll be like, okay, this is what I want to pay for these items. Okay, and this is how much it'll be to ship. So that'll just be like kind of a flat rate for the bundle or whatever. And then they're like, well, how come my total's higher? And it's like, well, sales tax. Like, that did I have to tell you sales tax would apply? Like,
Put it together. Right,
yeah,
but it's a lot of back and forth that people nowadays don't have time for. Sellers don't
it's
have
a
time
barrier.
for.
Yeah, it's a barrier.
And if you're not fluid in eBay, you would never know to even do that, right?
Yeah,
Like you have to
right.
be a competent eBay buyer
Yeah,
and seller, right? Like it took me the first time someone asked me that, I had a friend and I was like, oh my God, what do I do? How do I do this? She's like, you invoice them. I was like, what the fuck's an invoice? Like,
you're
how do I
like,
do this?
oh, I
You
can't
can
do that
only do
on
it on the
mobile.
computer.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yes. Let us know in the chat if you guys have ways around this. I do have volume shipping on because all of my stuff is pretty reasonable price. It doesn't encourage it. I think maybe once a month someone uses it. Uh,
Yeah.
but I don't know where it shows. Do you know where it shows when people are buying? I don't think you really see it.
I don't know. I mean, I've never had traction with that either. And I do have like these sort of subcategories within my store that have like hundreds or thousands of items like patches and lapel pins and matchbooks that are small that would be really great for that.
Yeah.
But it seems like I don't think I've ever, I don't know, I've always just had to like personally customize it. Or honestly, it's happened way more since I put all of those type of things on free shipping. And that like now collectors come and they just like pick out a giant a giant collection of stuff for themselves because it's all free shipping anyway.
Yeah, so this is interesting. So if you guys don't listen to the eBay for Business podcast, there is so much knowledge that you can learn on there.
Yeah.
And I was listening to it, I was catching up. So I listened to like 3 episodes this week.
Nice.
And they were saying that if your items are low enough, that's the best way to encourage that
The
because you can,
multiple
for
sales.
something that's that cheap, you just build it into the price and then people do exactly what you said.
And it's also just super low maintenance. Like it's very clear what's going on. So
Yes.
yeah, if you have like especially having like a large store, whether that's large volume or large inventory or both, like you can take the 1 in a million times that it goes wrong or they send half of them back or whatever. Like that does happen, but it's so occasional.
Yes, yes. Well, and I mean, if they send them back, it's the shipping that you lose out on. Hopefully they'll pay again. Duncan's asking Anna the worst or saying, Anna, the worst
Oh.
part is you sell 40 items and you can't find one of them. Did you find all of them?
Okay, yes, I did find all of them, and I like triple checked, but I have had that happen before a long time ago before I had my inventory system. And I will say in that regard, it's almost better when people individually buy things because then you can just they're not in one bundle yet, and you can join them up to ship, but it's like, oh, you just refund that one and then the other ones are totally unaffected because they're all technically separate orders.
Yeah.
Like at that point in the game.
Interesting about this is I had this happen this week on Poshmark.
Oh,
On Poshmark. And Poshmark is friends, we'll get there, but Poshmark is just not in my zone this week. But this happened on Poshmark this week. It was a bundle. It was a couple items from a Poshmark live show, which they don't have bundles on yet, which is chaos. So like they bought a couple and I had to cancel the order and then make a new listing and then they put them all
right.
together. But then they also
That's
wanted to buy a couple of
mindset.
things from my store. And Poshmark, you don't get dinged if you have to cancel something. So to be completely honest, it's a seller mistake. I don't always remember to take everything off. And I usually have to cancel something once a week-ish on Poshmark because I'm like, oops, I forgot to take that off. Where eBay, I like check 5 times, right? Because you get in trouble.
Right.
It was a bundle. It was a $275 bundle and they buy it all together and you don't have control as the seller like you do on eBay. So you either cancel I couldn't find the item.
The whole thing or yeah,
You cancel the whole thing or you send it to them. And if they want to say, hey, I didn't get one item, they have to ship the entire bundle back. So here's what I did. Actually, I'm not going to say what I did because I don't know if Poshmark's going to approve of what I did, and I don't want that on the internet. So send me a message if you want to know what I did. I'll tell you later. But I kind of
you're like, for my subscribers, I will tell you on the DM.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was thinking about what I did, and it's not what Poshmark would recommend you doing. So I don't want to put it on the internet because I want them to kick me out. But I kind of did a work around in hopes that the person will understand and we can figure it out.
Yeah.
If you can gauge what that means. But it is a mess on Poshmark because it is all together, and you either cancel it and hope that they buy the thing again.
Yeah.
Which some people are impulsive buyers, and then they're like, nope, I'm good, right? Or you send
Yeah.
it. I will say this because this has already happened. I have sent in something and there wasn't, like, I messaged them, the person who bought it. I'm like, I can't find it. Like, days had gone by and they never responded. So I just sent it without the item. The item was like $10. And so they said something to Poshmark, and Poshmark just refunded them the $10 because it wasn't worth them. Like, they took the hit.
Yeah.
But this item was $75.
Oh.
So I don't know. We'll see. Stay tuned. Or don't stay tuned because I'm probably not going to. If Poshmark approves what happens, then I'll say it. All right. We're going to get off of that topic.
A secret experiment. I love it.
All right. Hello, friends. Hello. Tammy Baker is here. She is a new member. Welcome. I've had a couple people ask me this week how you become a member. And the crappy thing about YouTube, I'm like in a mood today, friends, if you can't tell.
You're like, let me tell you what sucks.
I know it does. So the interesting thing about the downfall of YouTube memberships is they have some beef going on with iOS.
Oh.
And you cannot become a member. You cannot see the member button if you're on an iOS device, so like an iPhone or an iPad.
Oh,
so you have to go to the browser if you want to become a member. I've had multiple people ask me this week, which is kind of a bummer because, like, how many people are going to go one extra step? I guess if you want to be a member of someone, you would. But welcome. Melissa is here. She was on recently, last week. Was it last week? The Thrifty Broad. She is a member as well. If you do want to become a member, you have to get on a non-iOS device for lots of goodies as well. And Anna's book. I put I don't know if I put it in. I know we talked about it.
It's all good. If you guys find me on Instagram, the link to the book's in my link tree also. So it's around.
It is around. And Duncan will get his signed autographed eventually.
Yes, Duncan, I just need your address. That's all I need, and I will send you a book.
Okay? Yes. So. Duncan, she's on Instagram. I don't know. I messaged him on Facebook. I don't know if he's on Instagram.
Okay.
So we're going back to your patches that sold. Was some of those items your clearance sale?
So, I'm trying to think. So they were, right now my whole store is like 10% off. And I don't think they used my coupon, which was $10 for every $50 you spend, which they could have saved, good bit of money there, but they didn't use that. But they were promoted, like highly promoted. So kind of the whole store is the clearance sale. There's not like a specific, like certain items that are like more on sale than others. My super higher dollar items are on less of a promoted rate than the rest of the store. So they were in the most promoted group, which is the vast majority of my items anyway. So hopefully that answers your question. But I think,
honestly, you're promoting your older items more, not.
Well, I'm promoting them based on price point. So like most of my items are like under $100, for example. So like, yeah, they were in that pool, which is like literally probably like 12,000 of the 12,050 or 500 items are like under 100. So probably more than that, honestly. But so they were like captured in that. But I really get the feeling that, the reason that they ended up with 40 was more of like a buyer behavior thing where they were like, oh, I can see that this person has a whole bunch of this type of thing that I collect. And now I'm going to go through every single one that they have in their store. So,
and if you have we're going to do a few eBay store reviews today. I said a few, we'll get to one at least.
We'll try one. We have to train me how to do them. So
just look at the store and tell them what you think. But I say it a lot in the store reviews that I do is if you have your store set up in a good format that people can do that, where if they just go in and they're like 12,000 items, I would assume you have like categories and store features and so it's easy for them to go through.
I do have some, but probably not as sophisticated as they should be, to be honest.
They have like a little checkoff box. I love it. And of course it has like stats that are like, if you do this store video, you get 40% more views.
I know, which I still haven't done the store video.
That's the one I haven't done because I haven't figured out how I want to do it.
That's true. I guess that is the only one of the check boxes I haven't done. So.
Yeah, so you have them all.
Okay.
Well, sales have been good for me as well, especially on eBay. Melissa, I'm telling you, eBay, once you get it going for you, like
Yes.
It's definitely outnumbered my Poshmark for sure, and it's more consistent. Anna, the worst part is if you sell, oh, we already did that one. I was like popping around. If you can't find an item in a large order, I'll refund that missing item and then refund their shipping for the order. I don't really like to disappoint a buyer. Ooh, so like
That's a good
oops,
thought.
my bad, depending on what shipping is.
Yeah. But that's a good thought. Like, hey, sorry for the inconvenience. Like, here's something,
If I can't find an item, I usually it's like in general, not even in a bundle, but I usually am like, hey, I can let's say the item sold for $20. I will say, hey, you can pick anything from my store for $40 or under. Like a huge because I know that I'm going to give it like a 25% discount anyway. So it's really only giving them 10 extra dollars to make them happy.
That's
And they
interesting.
don't always do it, but then they don't get mad either. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
for that. Question, please. This is a Q&A as well. We're kind of just checking in and chatting. Question, please. Do you feel selling magazine is fruitless? They do not fall under media mail. This week sent a magazine to California and the shipping was nearly $9, profit of $2.24.
A magazine? Ugh. Was it over a pound?
I know. It must
I
have been like
mean,
a bigger a national is it National Geographic going to be over a pound? No.
yeah, probably could. Probably could. That's interesting. I didn't realize that they're not in media mail. I've sold like the very occasional magazine, but yeah, that does stink. Why aren't they media mail? They're
I've
clearly media
never
mail.
shipped anything media mail. What would include media mail for those of us who
I mean, anything that's like a CD, a DVD, a book. There's probably some other things.
and a
Like,
magazine doesn't?
yeah.
That's
I
weird.
think this is one of those things where, well, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But I'm surprised that it was nearly $9 though, because when I ship something first class, like it could be, you know, 15 ounces. And if I'm shipping it first class through eBay to literally to California from Atlanta, it's like 612.
Yeah.
So $9 sounds like a lot. So I'm guessing it was over a pound.
Yeah. Well, and they're saying that it's a magazine because it has ads. So media mail cannot have ads.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm thinking like CDs and stuff, none of them have like ads like in their covers and stuff,
I
right?
guess not. Well, yeah. I mean, I like movies used to come with like, little ads inside the case, like
Yeah.
music and VHS, like those like clamshell VHS. I
Yeah.
remember, I don't know, but I guess if they're old and collectible, it doesn't matter. But that's so
Well,
weird.
yeah, that is interesting. So the question was if it's fruitful. She made $2. I mean, that's only something that
It's like I think you answered your own question there.
yes, it's only something that you can decide if
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes $2 is if you're in the volume game, you may only be making like if you had
Right.
10,000 items, we can show spreadsheets here, friends. But if you had 10,000 items, and I don't know a sell through rate for magazines, but if you had like a 50% sell
Yeah.
through rate and you're shipping, 50 of them a day,
Yeah.
but
That'd be a lot of work. I mean,
I
the
mean, is
only
it a
one,
lot to list though? A magazine would be super
no,
easy to list, right?
no, but imagine like packing up 50 magazines and people don't want them to bend. And like, to me, that sounds like a lot of maintenance. But, the only ones that I've sold have been like kind of more collectible ones. And
Yeah.
so I probably had them priced higher than that. Um, but at the same time, it's like if you have a very like long game perspective, it's like, well, they're not making this issue of this magazine anymore. And at some point in time, I'll be the only person with it on the internet for sale.
Yeah.
And then I can charge kind of what I want, and collectors might try to collect it. But that's like layers of kind of contingencies, So
Yeah. And that's if you
I don't
have
know.
higher ASP. It's making me think of what's the card guy that we met, Burbank, where he's
Oh yeah, Burbank
like
cards.
I don't know what
The
their
card
average
father,
yes, yeah. So I don't know what their
Rob and
average
Sally.
I don't know what their average sale price is. My guess would be it's probably we were talking about it and I gauge that on average it's lower. They have a certain ones that sell really high, but their listing processes, it's all like the
Yes,
same type things or shipping processes. They have like 7 gazillion listings.
it's a machine.
Yes. And
Yeah,
so it's a volume game, right? Like if you're going to
100%.
sell things for $2 profit, you have to get the processes down and get a volume.
Totally.
Unless
Their business totally thrives, I'm sure, on repeat buyers too. It's like
oh,
collectors who only get their stuff from Burbank. But
yes.
they're awesome. If you're a card collector, you should only get your stuff from Burbank because they're the bomb. So
yes, Burbank cards. What's it called?
Burbank cards. Yeah.
Burbank cards.
Yeah.
I'll put it in here. You guys, even if you're not a collector, check out their social media and Instagram or social media and eBay store because it's fascinating to me.
It is. And they're the nicest people.
Yes, yes.
Love them.
Okay, so let's do a story review before we don't. I had to cancel on Wednesday because I was sick. And I'm so sorry about that. I did record 2, so there'll be 2 coming out next week. I'm not doing lives next week because it's the holidays and I'm off with the kids. So I have 2 from if you submitted an eBay review for Wednesday and I canceled, 2 of them are coming out. And then me and Anna, I have 2 pulled up. So I like to be chatty, so we'll see if we can get through 2. If we don't have other questions either, I'm not going to be able to see the comments. So if comments come in, will you keep an eye on those?
Yes, and you're showing your screen, right?
Yeah, I'll show it. I'm glad I'm feeling better. Thank you. So without getting controversial, because I'm not going there, but I had a slight cold, and then it wasn't like enough to be sick, and we had our booster shot scheduled. And I think my system was like, you have a slight cold, and then what are you putting into my body right now?
Yes, like your immune system was not thrilled about it.
Yeah, it was like one day of awfulness. So y'all know me, and I like to start with the numbers first. So the first one we're looking at is Lady Flipper. I'll just walk through very, very quickly through this.
Nice.
But so they give me a little bit. They want to make $4,000 gross revenue a month. Their average sale price currently is $24. Their sell-through rate is 7.7%. That means that they need 2,100 active listings. It's a numbers game, friends. So we'll look at their store and give them some recommendations. Quickly for this, if you guys want more in depth too, I do these, you can buy one and then it'll be much more in depth. But they would need to list 10 items a day and keep their numbers exactly what they're at to be able to hit their goal. Now because we talk about a numbers game and we'll tell you ways looking at your store that you can let's increase your sell-through rate to 10%. Oh, look, now you only need to list 8 a day to get there and increase your average sale price to, I don't know, $30.
Yeah.
Now you only need to, right? It's a numbers game. You can make anything work.
Yes.
You just have to know the numbers. So shall we look at the store? This is weird because I can't see you. Let me find a way to see you.
Oh, I'm smiling.
Yeah, because otherwise I just feel like I'm doing a regular one and I'm going to talk the whole time. And then that's my store.
That's okay. That's okay. I mean, I'll chime in for sure, but feel free to just do what you normally do.
Okay. Can we see it? We're good?
Yes.
Okay. Sarah can't see the comments. Let's talk about her Dunkin'. I saw that.
Rude. Suddenly she can see the comments. Maybe she was bluffing.
Well, I moved it. I'm not going to be able to see the comments once I go back to it. Okay, so this is...
You can. Oh, I can see those comments.
Yes, Anna's not going to let you get
I can see them. I definitely can see them.
If you want to sign copy, Dunkin', be on your best behavior.
Yeah, Dunkin'.
Okay, so this is their store. Have you looked at people's stores? I'll say what I see and then you can.
Not really, but let's see.
So what I'm noticing is they probably have no, they don't have a store, right? Because they don't have store features. If they have a store, they do not have the store features turned on. So I would absolutely turn your store features on if you have a store.
Yeah.
So that means having a banner at the top, having a logo. You could put a movie here about us. I always recommend shoppers are more willing to buy from people that they feel connected to.
Mm-hmm.
There's a gazillion clothing sellers on eBay. What makes Lady Flipper different than Sarah Styles LLC? Yes. And it can be, hey, I do this for XYZ, and someone connects to you and they want to come back to you, right? If they have a good experience, they'll come back.
Also, I will just say, having some kind of image, icon by your name. I mean, I feel like that is more memorable for a lot of people visually than just your name, even though your name is cute. I really like the name. But have some kind of doesn't have to be a photo of yourself, if you don't want it to be, but have some kind of a visual image for your identity. I think that will help too.
Yes. And keeping it Anna and Duncan who sold 40 items. If you can have more of a store experience so they feel like they're shopping with Lady Flipper and not on eBay. Right. A lot of people don't. I think they're starting to realize that individual sellers behind it. But I think a lot of people still just think they're shopping on eBay, right? Like, and they don't distinguish between, oh, that's not good. That's my oldest son's high school. All right. Well, hopefully my husband gets it. Or they call back and I might have to take it. But you want them to be connected to you, because if they're just shopping on eBay, then they're not going to come back, or they're not going to bundle, or they're not going to have any loyalty.
Right. Or even just be inclined to shop your whole store, you know?
Right. Right. Which will increase your average or increase your sell through, right? So sell through is how many items you're selling. Like a volume, average sale price is how much they're selling for.
Your sell through is better than mine, though. I just have to say, you're doing great with that.
Their sell through, yes. Well, it depends on what you sell to. So it compares to, what
True, for your category. Yeah.
Clothing sell through, 7% is pretty good for clothes. I'm assuming they only sell clothing. We'll have to look. That's just what's showing up right now.
Right.
Clothing sell through on eBay, depending on exactly, is like 5 to 10%. So if you're in that range, you're good. So we can scroll down and look at some of their photos. I would also work, one other thing I'm going to note on for the store features. Your followers are 41. If you can, especially if you're niche down, which so far it looks like they are, right? Clothing-ish.
Yeah, clothing, shoes, accessories.
If you're niche down, the more followers you can get, you can send newsletters, you can send coupons, you can market to them in 5 seconds. Well, maybe more than that, maybe 5 minutes, we'll say, to increase your sell through without having to do anything else, without having to list more items, without having you have new listings. You send an email, they've already bought from you. So the more followers, and here, I'll come over here. The more followers up here you can get. So these people subscribe and they want notifications from you, right? So the ways to get that up can help as well. Shall we look at some listings?
Yeah, love the title case and the titles.
Yes. We're having a couple questions on titles, and I think this might tie into it a little bit. Okay. So best practice, eBay has, if you guys are new to selling as well, eBay has a seller school, which I wish they had when I started. And it goes through like best practice for listings, best practice for items, like all of the rudimentary type of things straight from eBay.
Yeah.
So they'll walk you through how to do listings, but definitely like your SEO reads left to right. So you want your most important things that people are looking for. And so like Anna said, they have like that it's guess and it's vintage and it's 90s. All the things that people are looking for are coming up first. Carpe Diem Dancer is saying, I hear Sarah say no punctuation or abbreviations in the titles on eBay. If the measurements of an item is very normal. Oh, thank you. I was like, that's the one I don't know. Normally I put it in the front of the title, but if it's 2.5 inches, should I put it at the end?
It's a good question. Like, I'm thinking of like the heel on a shoe or something. Mm-hmm. I feel like I have been making more of an effort to not put any kind of punctuation in my titles. Mm-hmm. Don't know if it's making a huge difference. I haven't like swept my entire store for that yet. But I don't know. Like for me, I definitely put that stuff in the condition description and the regular description. I think I've been leaving it mostly out of the titles. And using a descriptive word instead. Like if it's a short heel, a 1 inch heel, I would call it a short heel or like mid heel or something, and then have the numbers like somewhere else in the listing because people can see the picture too. So it's like,
and they would it and filter by this search too, right?
Right. And yeah, so it should be in the item specifics. Yeah.
And if someone is searching for 2 inch and you only have a 2, it's going to pull that 2. Whether there's an inch or not. I would say no. And here's some of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
One, I don't know how important, it depends on what you're listing. For things that I would do, I don't know how many people are going to be typing in like a 2 inch heel. And if they do, they might type in like, yeah, I don't know. But you don't like it. So the reason you don't do punctuation for people that are following is the way that the algorithm, the SEOs, Google, anywhere, when they see punctuation, they see it as a stop or spammy. So if you put punctuation in your title, the algorithm's reading it to see if they want to put it in front of a buyer, and then it stops. Right. And so I don't know if it's something like Levi's and that's the name, like I'm willing to take the risk for that.
And there's like an apostrophe like in Levi's.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Tie that together. I'm like,
I just want to make sure I understand.
Yeah. So something like that, I would take the risk on. And if it's the way that the company like Levi's, if you go to Levi's brand and they have it in there, then I would do it. So I would say for something like a measurement, I wouldn't be willing to take the risk. If it's something, this is what they say on the eBay for Business podcast too. If it's something that you can look, like if it's a Levi's item and they put 32-inch seam in it, go to Levi's website and see how they do it. And if they're doing it, then I would probably say it might be okay.
That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, and I understand like that's a sophisticated question that they're asking too. Like, so should I put it at the end so that it doesn't stop, the flow? But I don't know enough about SEO to know, like, if it finds a stop anywhere, does it kick the whole thing out, or is it like it'll only give you, up to that point? Like, I'm not sure. I don't know exactly.
Oh, I see what you mean. So I think it'll only give you up to that point. But if it's something like Levi's, there's going to be a gazillion things.
Right.
And so you'll go to the bottom because you
so maybe if it is a measurement or something, it might be safer to put it on the end if you put it at all.
Yeah.
In theory.
And often what I do too for measurements, it depends on what you're selling. Because like men's, you want to put measurements because they buy size 30 pants. But for women's, I feel like if you put a small in there, it has much more wide basis.
Yeah.
Because smalls can be a various if you buy women's clothing.
That's kind of what I was saying too, though. It's like you put the descriptive version of that in the title, but then in your item specifics, you put the specific metric version. And then when people sort filter their search results, you'll still catch both that way.
Yeah, because you want to come up in as many places as possible.
Right.
Yes. So, and I think that goes to this one right here, right? So this is a women's sports bra and they have 32-inch. I would probably just do 32. Whenever I would look for a bra, I'd do like a 32B or a 32.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
what about the letters IN, 32IN instead of the
do you think buyer? So some of it's buyer behavior too. Do you think buyers type that in?
I don't know. Well, no, I don't think necessarily, but okay, like for example, if I just typed in, okay, I'm looking for like a 2XL, sports bra or whatever. If I saw, 3 listings and one of them told me exactly what what that measurement was in the listing, then I'm probably going to click on that one first if I know that that's my measurement versus 2 that don't have it. And it's like, well, these are extra large, but like you said, that's kind of like a broader term. Yeah. So like that if that one is more specific, I probably would look at it first. But on the other hand, if you were like not in those 3 because you had a punctuation in your title, then I would never have the chance to click on it at all. So
yes, true.
That's the balance, right? Like,
so they're saying they're referring to ribbon.
Oh, ribbon.
And I think ribbon, I would look it up, but I'd go to like Joann's or Michael's or somewhere that sells ribbon. And I would venture to say that they have that in there because like when you buy ribbon, it's on like, that's like the name of it.
Yeah.
Right. That's how you.
But go see what their format is. Like if I'm sure they don't, but if they type out the words 2.5 inches, then maybe that's what you should do. I think that's really smart though, to use whatever format is like kind of the industry standard or the category standard, even off of eBay, like for general search results.
Yes. Yeah. And look at what the top search results that are coming in, what they're doing.
Yeah.
I didn't come up with that. That's from the podcast. Brian Griff said that. So Lady Flipper use uniform backgrounds of all white backgrounds. I would agree with this.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a setup for it, eBay has at least for the very first one, eBay has a background remover. You can do it on all the photos, but one of the reasons it's best practice for eBay, Google, they all say it's best practice. The algorithm can pick it up and understand what it is if there's nothing else going on. And so that's why they say to have a white background. And so the first photo is the most important for that reason. So the SEO can pull, or the algorithm can pull it up. The other thing they say that putting your items like on the floor, people associate that with you walking and pets and kids dropping nasty food out, like with it being dirty, whether or not your item is dirty or not, that's what they see.
Yeah. They're like, this is literally on the floor.
Yes, and like less professionalism, like, oh, maybe I'm not
Right.
gonna get the item that they said I'm gonna get, even though they've sold 2,000 items and 100% feedback. I'm sure they are a great
Yeah.
seller. But if there's this item next to the item next to it that has a white background, and looks more
Right.
professional, they might go with that one.
Yeah. That
Um,
being said, I hate removing backgrounds, so I never do it.
I do it for the first one, and I have a white background. But
Yeah.
sometimes it's just not white enough, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine are like usually white. Most of the time it's white, but they're like textured, like it'll be a white blanket or something. A lot of my photos I take on a bed, but it's literally like it could be on the floor. They don't know. It's a blanket. Like,
Yeah,
you
white
know.
background, Anna. Let's get those sales up and move all your stuff so you can move.
I know. I know. I just have to
Um,
go edit 12,000 listings really quick. I'll be right back.
the jeans are a little on the dark side. So something I use for this is I use Pick Tap Go, even though I have a lighting setup. Like I took photos the other day and I have a large window, but it was like snowy and cloudy. So it wasn't as bright as usual. You can do Pick Tap Go. It's free. So it's like Photo Room you have to pay for. This one's free and it does them all at the same time. So I
Oh,
can do like I've done up to like 1,000 photos at one time.
wow.
You have to do the same like settings, but if it's all on the same
Background. Yeah.
batch, then you need to do it for all the same. See, this is why I think we were going to get to more than one because we're at 23 and we've done one. Okay, so Duncan's saying, friends, do trust Duncan. Duncan is a large reason why I'm where I'm at. He really helped mentor me in the beginning. Do they have a store coupon? It doesn't look like they have a coupon on. It
They
doesn't.
don't have a store, right?
Yeah, I don't. If they have a store, they don't have it. They're not using any of the store features.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know how to tell if they have a store if they don't use store features, but definitely run coupons. Coupons is going to help increase your sell-through rate, right? Like you don't have to list more items. You can increase your sell-through rate to 10% just by selling the items that you already have, making your better pictures, doing sales, doing store coupons. And it's not necessarily, some of it's buyer behavior because people want things cheaper. But some of it is when you are filtering and people go in and they have all of these ways to filter on the left. One of the options to filter is a sale or promotion
Yeah.
on something like that.
Right.
So if you're not coming up in that filter, someone clicks on that, your item goes away and they can't even find it, right? All right, let's look at an item. I like that. That's bright. You could tell they use the natural light for that. Okay, let's see. It doesn't look like they're top rated either. So I would work on becoming top rated. That's going to give you more exposure. Like eBay has told you that gives you more exposure. They will promote your items more if you're top rated. I like that they have an offer, whether you accept the offer or not. Again, it's the left filtering. People are going to search by that. And if you have an offer, your item goes away. You don't have to accept them. They may offer, $18.95 because they like round or they like, they don't like odd numbers.
What's their favorite year? Okay. 1895.
Right.
Everything was great in 1895.
They do have returns. However, they're not free returns. So that is going to, you have to work it into your business model. But when you're selling in something like women's clothing, they can likely find this exact item and they're likely going to find it with a top rated seller. They're likely going to find it with someone who takes return shipping. Like you're in a heavily saturated market.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to do what everyone else is doing. Like, I don't want to be the mom who's like, if everyone else is jumping off a bridge, you jump off of it. But that's competition.
Here, let me tie this up neatly for you. The way that you set yourself apart is with your store features and your identity, and not with doing less on, returns. That's not the standout thing to do.
Yes, I love it. And if you can get them to come back, they'll pay more. So like the first time they're like, okay, you are the same as everybody else. I had a great experience. And then you send them a newsletter and they're like, well, I had a great experience with this person. I'm willing to pay that extra $1 and not send them an offer because I really like them and I want to support them.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you don't promote your items, this is one of the reasons that you do promote your items, because I'm looking as a buyer, right? It's all buyer behavior. I'm looking at this item and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want it. Let me look at the description, scroll down and see. And now all of these items that are similar are coming up.
Between you and the description.
Yes.
There's all these other options. Yeah.
Right. Sending them to somewhere else. So if they look at this and like, well, this is a better picture. This one is 100% feedback. This one's top rated. This one's also free shipping. This one's free returns. They're going to click on this one and leave your store, like your entire store, not just the listing.
Right.
So that's why you want to be the best, but then also why you want to promote, because you want to be the best in the promoted as well.
Right.
Right. Description. I feel like they could maybe have some more item specifics. I'm trying to think of bras, what would be in a bra.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot. I mean,
I was going to say, I'm thinking of clothing where you would have a lot more. Yeah. And the description, what do you say about description? And then I'll say mine, because there's like a couple of thoughts here on descriptions.
Yeah. Well, I think if there's anything extra that you need to know about something that won't fit in the title and isn't in the condition description, if that's like necessary, then this is the place to put it. I don't emphasize description a whole lot. I usually copy and paste the title, which is more or less what they have done here, just because I want to have something in there. And that kind of, at least to me as a buyer, I guess, that kind of confirms that there is no additional information. It's like all the item specifics, and then here's the title. And that's like all you need to know. There's nothing wonky about this. There's no special notes or special circumstances. But also, like, so many people are shopping on mobile, and it's so many clicks to get to the description. Almost nobody looks at it. So I don't put any time in on that. And unless it's like, okay, there's a story behind this antique item, and I need to explain that there's like a few things wrong with it, and you need to be like abundantly aware of those things. You know, in that case, I'm going to use a description for that. And even in the condition description, which is higher up in the listing, I'm going to say, please see the description for more details or something like that. Yeah. So I use the description as kind of like a third line of defense. And most of the time, I'm just copying and pasting the title into there.
Yes. And I would agree with all of that. Okay. I would say, so they say to write a description like you don't have photos, and they say to take photos like you don't have a description. And I think what's helpful to me is I have a virtual assistant, so I have to take photos like I don't have a description, because they can't see my item. Like for my they have to have every single thing that they need to have in the photos. And so I think it helps me have like enough photos and then to write the description. But to Anna's point, most shoppers are now, I think they said like 70% or something like that are shopping on mobile. And they minimize it even more to where you have to click on it to go off of the listing to look at the description.
Yes. It's wild. It's wild.
And then it's like itty bitty too. So they're not, if you have these big long descriptions, definitely don't have like bullet points and stuff, because it's SEO again, right? Like that's stopping it. Not that.
Yep. Really right. It's got to be short answer, people, if anything.
Yeah. Shipping and payments. I think we kind of already.
Yeah.
So they do have some international on. That seems fairly reasonable. Shipping cost. Does it say 3 business days? If you can, like, you don't want to get dings if you can't, but this could be one of the reasons that they're not top rated, is you want to have a top 1 day business. You don't want to say you're going to ship in 1 day and then not do it.
Yeah.
So if you can't do it, it's better to have 3 days. If you can do it, like I could order something on Amazon right now and it would be here this afternoon.
I'm going to look really quick. Is top rated, do you have to have it on same day or 1 day? Because I have almost my whole store on 2 day right now. And it is still saying, like, if we evaluated you right now, you'd still be top rated.
I'm pretty sure it's 1 day.
Let me look.
Or maybe it's for top rated plus. Duncan will probably know off the bat.
Oh, Duncan. Yeah.
We're like behind. We're behind on questions. So let's get to some questions while you do that.
I'll report back on that. I'll find out, and
we didn't even look at their photos. 2 photos. They need more photos.
Yes.
So I would say, and this will come up in a listing quality report, pull a listing quality report, and it'll tell you that you need more photos. Like the top 5% of people selling stuff is going to have. So Duncan, I would say it's going to depend. You're saying at least 4. It's going to depend on the category that you sell in. But if you pull a listing quality report, it'll tell you what the top 5% of sellers in your category have. For some things like clothing, some clothing categories that I'm in, the top 10 have like 8 to 10. Because there's certain things like you need. I have a picture of every measurement, which is 4 photos right there.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like the inside of something, the outside, the texture of the fabric, if there's any area that has any kind of wear, the closure, like just on this one. I mean, I would probably take 8 or 10 photos of these.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have it pulled up? Do you look at it?
Oh no, I gave up because I was like,
Oh, sorry, because we were gonna
I'll
wait
phone
for
that.
Duncan. Well, you started talking again, so I was like, oh, she has it pulled up. We'll see if
Oh
Duncan.
no, I just quit. But I am waiting for Duncan to
Yeah,
answer the
it
question.
is one day handling for something. I can't remember if it's to be top rated seller or it's maybe to have top rated plus as your listing. I recently began using promoted listings. I start by using suggested but capped at 8%. New items, I've been lowering this amount to 4 or 5%. Seems eBay didn't like this. It's not about eBay liking things. It's eBay doesn't care. They want to make money and
Yeah.
they're going to do things that make them money. Same with us, right?
But you're certainly going to see lower sales from 4 or 5% than 8%.
Yes.
Because that's how it works.
Right. Well, because so it's about what other buyers are doing, right? Your
Yeah.
trending is based off of what other buyers are doing. And if you're doing it less than what other people are doing, apparently selling on eBay is like opposite of what your mom told you as a kid. You have to do, if they're jumping off the cliff, you jump off the cliff too.
Jump off faster and further and with more enthusiasm.
Do it better.
Do it better. No, but I was going to say one more thing about that promoted listing. You were saying it's capped at 8%. And so that could also, this is really important. That could be a problem if the average rate in your category is higher than 8% and you're capping at 8%, then you're not even keeping par with the rest of your category. So you got to look and see what the average rates are in your categories for those items and make your cap based on that. You can still make a cap. You can do that plus or minus what the average is if you have a bunch of things in a bunch of categories. But if you're mostly in a couple of categories, then use those average rates across eBay in those categories to inform like what your cap is going to be, because that'll totally, dictate like how much it actually helps you to have those ads. And then, if the cap is, if you're still paying 8% on stuff, but you're not really getting the benefit of the promotion that much, then that's a waste. You don't want to do that.
Yes. And I'm going to add, so they have another question on this, but I'm going to add to this too. I was doing a story review and it like clicked to me. So many people jump into promote, thinking it's like that red, what is it? The office button where you hit it. And it's like the save, like it fixes everything.
Yes. The easy button.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. I was like, I couldn't think of it. And it fixes everything. But if you have a bad listing, like it's doing is giving you more impressions. And so it's putting your items in front of people. But if you don't have good titles, you don't have good photos, you don't have good prices, you don't have good policies, you don't like all of the things that make your listing. Before you jump into promoted listings, do a listing quality report and make sure that you are at the top of your categories.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to, otherwise you're paying to promote your listings and you're not going to see a benefit from it because your listings aren't the best that they could be compared to your competition.
Yeah.
Do you promote when listing or do you wait to see how the item performs? Do you promote right away or do you give it time?
Oh yeah. I have it blanketed over my whole store because volume.
I promote right away too because I'm not as volume as you, but I'm also not the only one that's listed today. So I want to come in at the top when I can.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I would say clothing needs to be promoted at standard ad rate, perfectly blessed. Yes. I mean, I have promoted listing. All of my how-to videos don't tell you what I do. They do tell you what I do, but they don't tell you to do what I do. They walk you through how to run the test scenarios for yourself.
Right.
So how to set up the promoted listing campaign and then how to look at the analytics behind it to figure out where you should put it, because everyone's is different. Even if you sell clothing, everyone's business is different. So if you want like a little bit more support in that, I would check out some of my recent promoted listings. I tell you what I do. I'm not saying that that's what's right, but it'll walk you through like, here's this tab, here's this photo, here's this to do it.
Yeah. So, I love that. You're like, think for yourself, but here's how you can.
Well, because it doesn't, like, everyone's work.
Yeah.
I mean, just the two of us are like, well, this is what I do and this is what I do. Yeah. If you do discount, coupon, strike through sale, make sure your items are priced to allow for the discount. True.
Yes. Don't shoot yourself in the foot.
And also remember, if you do a coupon stack on sales.
Yes, they do.
Not on offers, but on sales. Do you pin any of your items to Pinterest?
It's on my to-do list.
So I used to.
Did you stop?
I did. In like the past couple of weeks. It is so, because you have to do it one by one.
Yeah. That's why I've never started.
I know. Well, for you, for sure.
Yeah.
And then now that I'm doing sell similar, I'm like, I do it one by one, but then once you sell
Then
similar,
you
it
have to
loses. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Okay, maybe I'm crossing that off my to-do list.
I mean, I think,
Maybe for really special ones or something.
yeah, I do it sometimes when like sales are low, but I wish that they had like a,
Oh, because you can't tell if it works, right? There's no
mm-mm.
data on it.
No. There's data on like you can look at analytics on Pinterest and see if you're
Right.
getting views, but it doesn't show any conversion
Right,
to
right.
relative. Um,
Yeah. Okay. Hmm.
Sarah, use ad blocker to get those ads off your eBay screen. Okay. Uh, what's the best? This is an Anna question. What is the
Oh,
best
yes.
service for large EH? Is that a thing, or did they
Just
just
large. Just
okay?
large and heavy probably. Oh yes, and I see you have a follow-up question too. For large packages, parcels, okay, what service do you use? You list with 2 shipping options. Okay, so here's what I do. I have a business policy for shipping that is for basically anything that is going to be large, heavy, or both. And I have priority mail, FedEx, and UPS on that business policy. So when I'm making a listing, I choose that one if it's something that's over a pound. And then the buyer can choose the service. It's a calculated shipping. It's always higher than what I will pay because I have an eBay seller discount. So, sometimes I have to make adjustments. Sometimes I refund people the difference or whatever if it's like outrageous. But I will say 9 times out of 10, it's UPS. Priority mail is always ungodly expensive. FedEx is usually like more expensive than UPS, and it's just as inconvenient for me to drop off a FedEx package as it is to drop off a UPS package. I've had really good experiences. I've never had stuff break with UPS. It's been fine. Things get there on time. But FedEx just lowered their rates. So now, as of like this week, there have been a couple of things I ended up shipping FedEx because it was several dollars cheaper. And spoiler alert, I do actually drop off my UPS and FedEx packages now at one place. I don't have to go to 2 places anymore because I just discovered this place that is called PostNet where you can drop off both. And I'm like, this is amazing. So now I'm not even as picky anymore. And I just go usually with whichever is cheapest out of FedEx or UPS. The only caveats are if people have like a PO box or like some kind of like weird delivery situation at where they're having it shipped to, some services won't deliver there. So like I've had that happen before where somebody chose a service and I'm like, why are they choosing this? It's so expensive. I'm going to send it UPS instead because it's cheaper and it'll get there faster. And then it was like, oh, they don't deliver because it's like a PO box or something. So you have to give the options, but yeah, usually it's UPS for me.
So Melissa is saying it's top rated plus. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So I was going to say, so plus is your individual listing gives you of other things, but it gives you a fee discount if you're a plus.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you're right. Your can still be top rated. Top rated seller plus needs one day shipping and free returns. Okay, one day handling.
That's interesting. I'll have to check that out. I mean, I only recently made it 2 day just because of the volume increase. It was like either hire someone to help me ship or cut it back to 2 day. And I chose to cut it back to 2 day.
Did it decrease your sales?
No.
It's hard to know. Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't seem to.
Question for Anna above. Okay, we got there. Can you get us all a signed copy? Anna, can they leave you? So do we have a listing? It's an eBay. Can they leave you a message? If you guys are watching it here, leave her a message and say, we saw you on YouTube.
Yes.
We want it signed and we want like an artistic drawing on it and like all
yes. Make me a note. I would say you can, if you want to, like, okay, I'll just be real. You guys are the audience. Anyone who's watching this right now, okay? You can go make me an offer. Like I have offers on my whole store. So go make me an offer. The hard copies cost me like $3. So if it's over $3,
don't shortcut yourself. No.
No, but I will
for her time and knowledge, but say that you saw it here and she'll sign.
Yes, say that you saw it here and you're welcome to offer me something less than what it's listed at if you want. I have accepted smaller offers on it, which is always hilarious because it's my
Can
own
you
book.
offer more? I don't think you can offer more.
I don't think you can, but I will write you a note. So just say something with your offer and I'll know that it's you. And then
I am going to cut off the free. Anna spent a lot of her time and knowledge, so you should pay and support her, but she will sign it. So
I will
go buy it and sign it.
I appreciate fellow bargain hunters, but don't like.
No, I do too, but like, If you cross post to Poshmark, it can be automatically set to post to Pinterest.
Mm.
If you cross post to what can automatically be? I don't understand.
Onto Poshmark? Can you automatically set it on Poshmark?
Oh yes, on Poshmark you can automatically. Yes, thank you. I was thinking like the in between on from eBay. Yes,
Oh,
you can automatically do to Pinterest, which I do.
got you.
That reminded me though of Poshmark and the description. My description's a little bit longer because Poshmark's SEO does actually read through the description, and so I cross post, and so I have my description a little bit lengthier for Poshmark reasons. But it's not anything that's going to harm eBay, like no bullet points, no like emojis or anything.
Right.
But it's longer because of Poshmark.
Emojis.
I went on the website. I ordered my book, Duncan.
No, Duncan. Hers isn't even signed.
I was just gonna say, and I know her personally.
Yeah.
We've met in what is it? IRL. Okay, a few minutes left. There is something I like ending on like our philosophical things.
Yes. What about your live though?
I know. Friends, it was terrible. So Poshmark Live, we had like 2 seconds and it doesn't need any more than that. I'm taking next week off in general because the kids are off, my husband's off. I'll still ship and list from my everything, but other than that, I'm probably quitting Poshmark Lives. They started at like 96% sell-through rates. I wasn't making a ton of money, but everything was selling. And so I was like, okay, this
is compelling. Yeah.
Yeah. This last one was a 30% sell-through rate. My average sale price was $10, which for me is not like my average sales price is like $30, $35. Yeah. I'm paying a VA to do it. I spent an hour. I'm like, there were so many other things this morning that I wanted to be doing. And for that, like I was using it to clear out inventory, but I don't know. I'm wondering, like they unloaded a bunch of people last week. And there used to be like, anytime you would get on, there'd be like 10 live shows. And anytime I've gotten on, like just creeping to see there's like 60 to 100 shows.
Dang.
Right. The market's like just completely, and I would have like 100 people in my show. And today I had like 15.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess like now that it's like opened up to more people, like Whatnot has tons and tons of people on it, but like people on there that we know have been building their following for months and months already. So it's like now you're at that square one to like start from kind of zero. I mean, maybe in theory you have a little bit of a head start because you were in on it earlier, but now it's like,
I mean, if I have a head start, then I feel bad for the people who don't.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Yeah.
And I do think that like if you keep with it, a lot of people are going to fall off. Like I'm gonna quit probably. I'll probably try.
You're like, let me help you out. I'm leaving.
I wasn't that keen on it in the beginning. I'm glad that I did it. Stay tuned. I'll do videos on it, and maybe next time we need to do a live, I'll be like, oh, I did another one and it was great. But today's was awful. So that's
very discouraging.
Yes, it was terrible. I hate it.
Can I ask everyone a question?
Yes, please do.
Okay, so I'm this close to having a property under contract for moving across the country, which is very exciting.
For you to live in.
Huh?
A house for you to live in.
A house for me to live in, and it has an attached storefront space. So if you were me, what would you do with that storefront space? Let me give you some options. Have a brick and mortar version of your eBay store. Have a renter in there doing something totally unrelated, but paying at least half of your mortgage every month, which is what is already the situation, which would be awesome. Or C, start a new business. Or D, some other option of your choice. I'm just curious what people would do in that situation. I love the options. We have no idea if we get it, what we're going to do with it exactly.
That's interesting. Would the current tenant that's there stay?
Yeah.
That's the least risky one.
Yeah, I agree.
That's probably what I would go with, because a store, like your eBay, what I'm leaning toward, like if you're eBay, then you're having to get people to come in.
Yep, and having to man the store, and
so then you're paying them
all the upkeep of displaying things or whatever.
Yeah, and then you have to take care of sales tax.
That's what Timothy says. Yeah, right.
Yes. I probably would not. I mean, unless I think a brick and mortar, if it's like a dream of yours and you have the passion to want to do it, you have to have that. I don't think as far as like a financial situation, I don't think you would gain much value in it. Like how much more traffic do you think you would get from that than eBay?
It's a small town, so probably not a ton. And also, I mean, I love the idea personally. What we're going to do, at least initially, is just have the person stay. She's been there for like 5+ years already. She's been a great tenant. She's doing her thing. We love her. She's great. But if she ever wanted to leave or retire or something, then what? You know, then we have this space. We could lease it out to someone else, or we could start something up new, or who knows? So
everyone's saying lease out.
Yes, they're shouting at me. Time is money. Time is money.
You can lease it to Duncan.
I told Ken the other day, I was like, we could have the first ever boutique of Simply sneakers. So
yeah,
Simply, get in there. I don't know why
you could lease it out to someone else. Like, let someone else do all of that. I brick and mortar, just especially nowadays, like,
be nice to the current tenant. Yeah, I will. She seems cool.
Oh, a Poshmark live. Poshmark lives are ridiculous. The other day, a random seller asked me to put my $100 item in their Posh show so they could attempt to sell it for me. What? It's getting ridiculous. I've seen on social media too, because they don't monitor them. I'm wondering if they're going to start doing it. Like, I've heard, I haven't seen it, but I've heard that Poshmark people or sellers are getting on to like talk crap about the lives. Like, not even selling anything, just getting on to be like, this is ridiculous, blah, 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 blah.
Oh my gosh.
Or like taking them around their like day. Someone was like, oh, I just sat at a coffee shop. Like, they weren't selling anything. And there's been some issues with like the servers and like crash, like it's a lot of people. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I do have to leave soon, but I do think we have a couple questions and then we can hop off. What is your take on people doing auctions and buy it now on YouTube? Like live selling on YouTube? I mean, I think there's a market for everything, but with doing that, it's social media.
Buy this book right now, and I'm just kidding.
I mean, I think it's similar to like doing it on Whatnot or on Posh. You have to build, but it's social media selling. You have to build it up.
Or even like Instagram.
Yeah. The only thing with doing it on YouTube is then they don't have the features for it. So then you're spending. I've done one live sale on YouTube before just to like try it out. There's like no auction button. YouTube doesn't collect money for you. You have to, so then you're like sending invoices out. But there are people that have success with it if you want to build it in and build the audience. Like, my audience is not that. My audience are resellers who want to learn how to resell, not buy things from me. The concept is weird to me. Unless you use a collection of free inventory, you can always use a section to sell your stuff in corner.
Like if I leased out the space to someone else and had my own little, that's true.
Yes. And that could be good. Or like if you had like a local pickup corner, or like this is my space, and give them like a deal. Or
that's true. I would, if there was anything retail in there, I would be like, any furniture I want to sell, I'm going to sell it in there and not deal with shipping it.
That's what Diane is saying too. How much rent for that space? You're not moving to the States.
It's more than $20 a week. I'll tell you that.
I have a renter. Bam. All right. So we are going to be off next week. So I hope everyone has a wonderful week and has wonderful, wonderful sales. Do you see an uptick for the holidays and Black Friday?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's bananas. Yeah.
I kudos to you. My December is always my worst month.
Hate that for you.
I do too, because I'm so close to hitting my goal for the year. And I don't think it's going to happen because my December always just like tanks.
That sucks for goals reasons. It's great though for like living your life and enjoying the holidays reasons, which is the trade-off for selling it the most in December. It's like, I'm so busy on top of being so busy socially too. But what's our philosophical edge for the end here?
Yeah. So enjoy my time off is what you're telling me.
Yes. So much gratitude.
Yes. All right. Everyone have a wonderful week. And thank you guys so much. And I was going to tell you to stay on because I wanted to tell you something.
Yeah.
But now I don't remember.